Hey everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we are doing the Sims 4 Solid Color Challenge. I am currently trying to do every color in the rainbow, and we started with red on my Twitch stream yesterday at twitch.tv/YellingKimber. That's the house that's over to the right, and now the left. But anyway, the rules for this challenge are that you have to use items that are mostly whatever color you're using. So in this circumstance, every item I used had to be at least 75% orange. And for the exterior, I was having a really hard time. I had some preconceptions going into this house that it was going to be a certain type of way. I really thought it was going to end up being very 1960s inspired. Sorry about that. And I thought it was going to be really cool. I thought it would be a house that I personally would love to live in, and that is not how it turned out at all. My first struggle came with these windows and doors. I think that's part of why I thought it was going to be so retro and cool, because it's like modern, but it's also, with the color scheme, it's a little bit of a flashback. So I was having a really hard time because these windows are macaroni and white. The only fence that I found that really looked orange to me was even brighter than macaroni. It was like craft macaroni. And then all of the exterior items that I was finding for like paint and flooring were more terracotta. I couldn't find anything that seemed to match the windows and the fence in brightness. It was a weird situation. But landscaping, you're allowed to bend the rules a little bit. You don't have to use purely orange, but I tried to stick with it and then colors that complemented orange because it was the one place I was getting a pop of color. So building a little garden here and outlining it with rocks, that's how my grandma always landscapes whenever she does anything. Our backyard at the house that we have now, our front yard is like this, our old house was like this. Every garden she's ever done has looked like this, so I think that's kind of where I picked that up. It just looks really homey to me because that's what I had in all of my homes. So I might have a weird macaroni fence, and I might have bright orange stairs and weird windows and a door, but at least I've got a pretty garden. I think that's good. But yeah, I had a lot of notions about what this house is going to be like, and I think that this house itself broke all of my expectations. The roof, that was another thing that I was not happy with in the end. But when I filtered all of the roof tile by orange, it didn't seem to me that anything was really truly orange. So, in order to keep with the rules, I wanted to make it glass, because glass isn't really a color, it's just see-through. I know the beam through the glass tile is black, but my rationale was that it will let you see through to see all of the orange things inside. So for some reason I decided that was okay. But we're just placing down some trees, hoping for the best with our little pops of color that we got here. I actually kind of like this. I don't know where I got this idea, but I think it ended up looking okay in the end. I think I'm actually quickly becoming better at landscaping than I am building in general. Maybe it's because I'm spoiled with how great my grandmother always had everything looking when I was a kid. She loves to garden, and I have a black thumb in real life, but you don't need to have a green thumb to appreciate it. This area on the left I really thought was going to be a beautiful breakfast nook, but I quickly realized that none of the tables that I wanted to use were actually orange, so it turned into the kitchen. And this kitchen, again, I thought was going to be like this was a good start. I was like, oh, this looks kind of modern. The colors are cool. It's all gonna be okay. That's what I thought. I know that the fridge isn't 75% orange, and I think that's actually the only item that I cheated on here. But I thought it was more important to me becoming a better builder to figure out how to lay out a kitchen that is functional than it was to, not include a fridge because it wasn't the right color. And I think it works out okay because at least it does have orange on there, and ordinarily that is not a fridge that I use. So it's getting me to step outside of my comfort zone, and I think that's what's important there. I've also never used that trash can in orange. And I've also never used this floor. So, if nothing else, I think this challenge is a good thing for me. Each individual house might not come out okay, but it's definitely getting me out of the building rut that I've been in. Because the building rut I've been in is definitely real. I tend to use the same blue countertops in every house if I can help it. I tend to use the same glass windows. I use the same shower. Like, I have never used this toilet in my life. And if you look at the back of it, it's just about pure orange. The bowl, orange on the inside. The lid, orange. When else am I ever going to use that toilet? Like, it's a conversation piece. I don't know. I think it's fitting. And it's doing its job of getting me out of my comfort zone. And that door, too. Same is true of the door. That's another reason why I was having a lot of trouble with this house, is because none of it was cohesive. You look at the kitchen, and it looks kind of modern. You look at this area with the door and the toilet, and you think that maybe some hippies live here. But then you look at all of, like, the paintings, and none of them seem to fit that. It's like, they couldn't decide. Granted, I know all of these items were not added at the same time, but it's like a couple items were added to each pack, and they couldn't decide if they wanted to complete that theme. So it's like, they'll find a use for it. They being the players, and the original they being, the item makers. So you have these macaroni and white windows. I couldn't find anything orange that kind of like went with that. Like, not even the kitchen that's the same level of modern matches. It's got silver and brown on it. So I tried to just stick with the orange and brown thing because orange and white just wasn't going to happen. I tried, I couldn't find anything. As it turns out, there are not as many orange items as I thought there were. But there were a lot of Halloween and like spooky stuff pack items that looked like they were working. So the people that live here must be very interesting people. They've got a penguin TV. They've got Halloween cards in the kitchen. They've got this weird patterned lamp. If you look really closely at these drapes that I'm putting up, like these curtains, I love what they do for the windows, but they also have tiny dinosaurs on them. Like, the people that live in this house are just probably a little on the eccentric side, is what I'm thinking. And at this point, I was really struggling to use the space properly because I don't know if you could see, but there are not a whole lot of wall items that are orange. There are a couple sconces. There are these shelves, which actually, looking back now, I'm not sure that these are orange. They definitely looked that way to me at the time, but maybe I need to go delete these shelves because I think they might actually be brown, despite the fact they were coming up in the orange filter. But not even like the clutter items are really all that cute when you look at the orange things. It's odd, is how I feel. But a building tutorial video that I was watching told me if you can't handle a space, you should size it down. And they said that big open walls are bad. And I agree. It feels kind of oppressive to have like these big walls with nothing on them to break them up. And since I didn't really have any items that I could use to break them up, I just kept putting up more of those horrendous windows. And then I wanted to hide the horrendous windows, so I kept putting the dinosaur curtains on top of them. But this clutter area turned into something. These people like Halloween, they like dinosaurs, they like little swirly things, and penguins. I really don't know who would ever live here. I almost put a desk there, but then I decided that the computer wasn't orange enough, so I got rid of it. Even these pet beds, they look a little bit like salmon rather than pure orange. Like, none of the oranges go together. I really wonder if this is the hardest color to build with. Of course, I thought that of red when I was building with red because everything looked so dark and gloomy. But in hindsight, red was a cakewalk compared to orange. I feel like the word orange is starting to lose all meaning now. Like, really, truly. I feel like I've said orange so many times that I'm forgetting how to pronounce it. And it's just different. I like this basketball flooring, though. Like, it does make our house look like a basketball court, but it also lights it up very well. But I decided that this was going to be a kid's room because it wasn't going to fit a double bed. But it did seem like you could put some stuff in here. I established that it couldn't be an office. It couldn't be like a yoga room because there are no yoga mats that are the right color. I went through all the skill items and I couldn't find anything that was orange that didn't just take up one square. Like, it wasn't anything that you could turn into like a themed skill building room. I wanted to make this room Halloween themed, but there were too many Halloween items that were more black than they were orange, so I went with the Skelly Bear because I thought he was orange enough. I don't know. Then I'm going through wall items and again realizing that there's not really anything easy to put on a wall here. EA, if you're listening, I would like more orange items to put on a wall. Actually, I'd like more wall items that worked in general. I feel like a lot of the paintings, when you try to put them in a space, they don't fit that space. Then when you try to size them up or size them down, they just look truly awful. Like this sideboard. I thought a sideboard would look good there. I hope I'm using the right word for that, but it didn't. I couldn't find any clutter that looked appropriate, so I just threw the washer and dryer there, which ended up looking even worse in hindsight because the curtains clip through it. And when you look at the house from the front, you see the backs of the technology. Here I am struggling with paintings again. I don't know. This is the only orange double bed at that. And it doesn't match any of the other orange stuff. Like the kids' bed, at least, looked quirky and like there's a theme. But if I were going with my initial my initial idea for this house with the modern this, modern that, like you saw the sofas. I placed them. This bedroom would be completely out of place. So I think I just kind of had to embrace the quirky people living here thing. I don't know. I guess it could be a lot worse. Maybe I should stop putting this house down. But this is what I came up with. Thank you for watching my color challenge. We will go ahead and do yellow next. I'll probably stream that on Twitch, and I'll link my Twitch below. Thanks for hanging out.